Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the importance of LinkedIn, your resume, your cover letter, and your reference sheet in getting your next IT job. So, I've had quite a few jobs in the information technology space, and I do teach at this time at a college, and this is a presentation I like to do for everyone. But I did want to make it public and put on YouTube, just so people that are out there looking for guidance on how to set up your LinkedIn, how to set up your folders in your Google Drive of your portfolio, and how to set up your resume, your cover letter, and just additional things that I have gotten over my IT career that I want to give you. So in the description, I'm going to put a link to a Google Drive folder that's going to have the resume I am showing you, the cover letter I'm showing you, and the reference sheet that I'm showing you. Now, these are things I always like to have on hand, especially that reference sheet. Some jobs, they want professional references, so I always make sure to have those available in written format very easily, so I don't have to think about it when it comes time to submit it. So first things first, I like to go over LinkedIn. I've gotten probably a good portion of my jobs on LinkedIn. I got my current job from an Indeed application, three jobs from LinkedIn, and then one of them was I was recruited by a recruiter, and then I got two jobs from ZipRecruiter. So I've gotten jobs from all the job platforms, but when I've applied for jobs, I'm doing about 1,500 to 2,000 applications. And a lot of it's going to be those easy applies and where you just get kind of stuck in a bucket and don't get found out. But a lot of the jobs I've gotten two of them through the easy apply. One on the ZipRecruiter, like quick apply, and then one on LinkedIn, easy apply. Then the others have been direct applications on company websites. So that's where I spend a lot of time actually. I'll do easy applies and the quick applies and the one tap applies on the various websites just because it's easy. But really, where the bulk of my time is spent is on a job's actual, on a job's actual website or ADP page. And I'm putting in all my information and being extremely detailed. So the first thing I want to go over is just your homepage. I have this here. A lot of people don't have this, but a long time ago, I saw someone with a showcase of their certifications. Here, I'm actually missing Network Plus, but I did have a recruiter point out to me that he liked that when he got to my page, he's like, I could just see the certs you have, and some of these certs, like the A plus at the time of that job. He's like, okay, we wanted someone that had the A plus. I'm like, okay, I gotta talk to this guy. So he made the decision right off the bat, just looking at my cover. But I don't think it's necessary completely. I've had good experiences with it, so I'm like, why not keep it? I see a lot of people put that they're students and things like that. I'm okay with that. I would say pick three main points that you're targeting in your career, maybe like a cybersecurity analyst. And then network administration, which I have a solid 2 years of just network administration, and then so on and so forth, like where my education is coming from. I do have my certifications listed, the ones I have. I did put that I have a CCNA in progress. I'm currently going through Jeremy's IT. I always keep myself open to work on the recruiter side, not on the public, like with a green banner. So I'll show that to you. Jobs I'm targeting, location, on-site, hybrid, remote, and then I would just pick your area, add locations that you live around. So I have locations here maxed out, and then United States, where I live in California. Immediately, I'm actively looking. And to be very honest, I'm always looking for a good opportunity. So if there's a better opportunity what I have, I'm open to exploring. I'm always going to be open to exploring what's out there. These are things I'll have AI assist me with. I'll give it a copy of my resume and just say, hey, can you write me a LinkedIn about section? The bullet points, these are things that I do. Moving on from that. And then experience. I put my experience and I usually get the job description, throw it into ChatGPT or Gemini, and I'll just have it. Can you make this a good LinkedIn job description? And then all the bullet points are what I add. And then this is just what I got from AI. An adjunct professor, same thing. Any bullet points I add. Service desk analyst. I've had quite a few jobs. The skills, I did the skills. A lot of these I do it for just like keyword optimization for my LinkedIn page, but it's all stuff that I actually touched while working at these positions. See here, job description, bullet points, and so on and so forth. It goes on. Education, the same thing. A lot of people don't know that you can put your like pictures of your degrees. So I would put everything. If you have like an associate degree from a community college and you got like a lot of certificates of achievement, why don't you put all of those there? I got a 3.5 grade point average or higher. I got a little certificate that I was on the dean's list. I'm like, okay, awesome. Pictures of all my degrees. I got them all here. Now, some people say you should go 10 years back. For me, I just think my LinkedIn should be my complete history. So that's just my opinion on that. And I basically have pictures. I won't put something up here that doesn't have a picture of a degree or certificate associated with it. So that's it for education. Then licenses and certifications. A lot of us do stuff on Pluralsight or Udemy, or even if like you're in the military and you have certificates, I would put those certificates down and make sure that we get pictures. If even if we can't get pictures here, that you just notate the certificate that you got. So when I look at people that like they've been in the military, for instance, I know they have so much experience, but they write almost nothing down. So you need to start putting everything on LinkedIn on here. This should be your complete history. So when a future employer looks at you, when I've gotten hired for jobs and I'm like the number one pick out of like 300 or 400 people, I'm told by my then supervisor that, hey, like I went through your LinkedIn with a fine tooth comb, and I really felt like I was reading your story and your progression and the years looking back, the certifications you targeted, then you went on and on and on, and now you're here, and it looks like you have a good trajectory on where you want to go. So I've always gotten good feedback on making my LinkedIn like my own personal history of my work experience. So skills is another thing. What I would do is when you're looking for jobs, it'll say skills on there, then you can add those skills to your profile. So I've added 100 skills, which is the maximum. And usually I'll go through every couple months and I'll just remove stuff that's not pertinent. Then as I'm applying for a new job, I'll add, I guess, more skills that are on current job descriptions. Then I have my recommendations. Always ask for recommendations. I've asked for quite a few, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people haven't done them. But the 3 people that have, I'm very happy to have recommendations. This is a close personal friend, Brandon. I worked with at Evolve IP, then Matthew Smith was my boss at Evolve IP, so I'm very grateful for all the recommendations. And those are things, when a hiring panel is looking deep into you, they're going to want to know as much as possible. And then courses, any courses related to your current career path, so all tech courses, I put all my tech courses here. Honors and awards, I got on Infogain, I think I was like number 3 or 4 in tickets, and I was only there for like 2 months, and they gave me a award. So they gave me a spot award, and they gave me a little orange juicer that actually just broke recently. We used the hell out of it, but it was awesome. And that is it for my LinkedIn, because I get recruiters hitting me up all the time, and I'm aiming for about 120 to 140, and I'm getting a lot of recruiters, and the pay is pretty comparable to what I'm asking. I'd say it's up anywhere between 100 and 130 just in my messages right now. And obviously, I live in LA, so the market's a little bit different. Then I have a lot of experience in the education, like having a bachelor's and master's and having certifications, and then having like real world experience is very important. So we're done with LinkedIn for now. I did want to show you how I organize my Google Drive. So this is how I organize my Google Drive. I basically get all my certifications and my resume and all pertinent documentation. I even have my annual reviews from previous jobs, obviously like very positive ones that are going to be a good aid. My transcripts, my reference sheets, which I'll go into, but this is where I pull from. I'll often right click, download it, extract the zip file, and I'll have it on my computer, like just the freshest copy I have, because I'm always updating and tweaking things in my resume and cover letter. You can see I have my annual reviews, other applications, like city applications I filled out. Then these are the documents I'm actually giving you today. First thing we'll go over is the reference sheet. I am going to share this folder in the description so that you have access to this, but this is the template I'll be giving you. Personal references, fill that out, and then professional. If you have good relationships with your bosses, that's who you're gonna want on here. Because I've applied for government like county and city jobs, and they want like 2 supervisors on there, or else they're not. You're not gonna be able to progress that application. So I have like 5 on mine, and personal references I'll have like 3 to 6, which I think is important. If you get a job that requires like a more extensive background, it's nice to have a lot of references to call in case some don't pick up their phone, which I've had that happen before. And then the cover letter. This is something, I always do Dear Hiring Committee, or I'll edit this to whoever's name it's going to be targeted to. This is something that you can obviously edit with AI based on the job description and your own experience. But this is just my basic cover letter, which you'll have access to. I always like the key highlights of my qualifications, because this seems to be an area where people just read. They'll pretty much only read this. You can see CompTIA A+, certifications, cloud expertise, network administration, worked at a knock and a help desk, fully remote ones, and then on-site ones. That's it for the cover letter. My condensed. So this is a condensed version of my resume. I'll show you. I have one that's like 7 pages. It is very long, but it's extremely descriptive on my skills, and it has full job descriptions for all the jobs here. I did kind of focus on this one on jobs related to my IT background. My first job at McDonald's, being a janitor, and then I worked at Knott's Berry Farm, and then two hospitals. I spent from 2015 to 2019 working in hospitals as a nursing assistant. So my long one has that one. Some government jobs where they really want a very specific resume, I'll do the 7 pager. But typically, like 99% of the time, I'm doing this one. Maybe if I have a panel in person, I'll print out the long one. Because I've been told that this resume, being 4 pages, was not enough information on my skills when it came to networking. So that's why I even created the longer one. So I need to actually write down specific use case scenarios of what I did in network administration, what I did on tier 2 and tier 3 help desk, and all of that. But you can see education. Some people say to remove the year. Maybe I'll do that in the future. I don't know how I feel about it. I did put complete, but you don't really need that. I had it complete because I just had gotten them. But for instance, like I'll take that out. I do have six associate degrees from Rio Hondo College. You can think about that whatever you want, but I did list all of them. In my interview with Evolve IP, I remember the COO asked me if I had them on hand. And the funny thing is, I had them at my desk sitting, and I had to show all 6 associate degrees in the camera. And he thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And he told me, if you can do all this, I think you'll be fine at this job. And, I ended up getting my second IT job was with Evolve IP, which is now changed to XTM. But, I was very grateful for that 13-month opportunity. I ended up getting laid off, and, no harm, no foul. It happens in the job market. I got a new job. I actually had a feeling I was gonna get laid off, so like 3 months before I started applying like crazy, and I already had the day I got laid off. They gave me a week severance, and the week like literally right after that I had my new job, so I got a week off. So it was pretty cool. And certifications, I put the CCNA and CCMP in progress because I'm actively pursuing the CCNA, and I'm not gonna stop till I get my CCMP. I put my credential IDs because only because on some of the city applications I've done, they've told me, hey, with your A+, we require it. We need your credential ID to verify it. So I actually haven't added it to this test resume I'm showing you guys, but my actual resume has it. You can see Security Plus has a credential ID. I just need to add. Well, this is my test resume, but I need to add my credential ID for Network Plus. But essentially, you want to have all the information so they don't have to ask additional questions from you. I kind of just want to give them everything so they don't have to, so I don't have to inconvenience them having to do a whole back and forth. I have my honors and awards, interests. I always felt a little iffy on interests, but this to me humanizes me to like a recruiter. I When I had my second job at Evolve IP, I got a hybrid role, MSP. Great job, an amazing job. I interviewed. I actually got an offer from the job, but it was the same pay as my fully remote job. So I just couldn't do it because driving an hour in traffic for 3 to 5 days a week or fully remote with the same pay and benefits, I took the remote, or I stayed with my remote. But that manager was a very interesting guy, and I had a wonderful conversation with him. This is why he interviewed me. He saw gaming. And right when I got on the first phone call, second phone call, I got screened by HR first. Second phone call, he's like, Miles, by any chance, do you play video games? And I said, I'm embarrassed to say, but I do. And you know what he told me? If you would have said no, I would have hung up the phone on you. I don't think anyone working in tech should not be playing video games. We should always be touching pieces of technology at all times. So we talked a lot about, like, I think Halo Infinite had just come out at the time, and we talked about Call of Duty, and I love Skyrim and Oblivion, so we talked about that. That's the whole reason why he wanted to hire me. Not because I had the A+, not because I had the Network Plus, none of those things. It was solely because he wanted to have another gamer on his team. And then technical skills, these are all things I have touched and worked with, worked on, interacted with in my IT career. So technical skills, I would edit this to what your skills are. And then the home lab, I do have a home lab. Right behind me, I got my 2 switches and my 1 router. Then a laptop that has Proxmox on it, where I have AdGuard, WireGuard, and a few other things on there until I get my server one day. And this is it. Yeah, this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, so I'm happy I got through with it. But your LinkedIn, your reference sheet, your cover letter, and your condensed, or your resume. Shorten the resume to 2 pages. If it's a job paying like under $70,000 a year, do a 2 pager. If it's a highly technical job paying like 60 or 70 grand a year, you might want to give a little bit more. That's the advice I've been given. Like, hey, like this is very technical, even though it pays 55 grand a year, 60 grand a year. It's a highly technical position. You got to give us a little more on the resume. Okay. So you got to use good judgment. Now I'm applying for jobs that are paying over 110, 120, 130. They want to know everything. They don't want to have to sit around and ask you. Like, you give them everything on that resume. So higher income roles, longer resume, because they're actually going to sit down and review, hopefully review your resume in detail. So thank you for watching and have a great day.